Now, barely 2 months to Nigeria's general election, candidates are adopting all strategies they believe will brighten their chances, including taking a stand before foreign media. Presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu's engagement at Chatham House has continued to generate conversations. News Center's Uzonna Ononye reports.
In the midst of several invitations to appear in Nigerian media events, which is snubbed, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu found it more convenient to undertake a 6-hour flight from Nigeria to England for an engagement with the Chatham House. Outside the hall, it began as an anti-Tinubu rally, but soon turned to a seeming clash of voices for and against the man who has offered himself to run for the presidency on the platform of the All Progressives Congress. In the real business of the day, the candidate commended the effect of technology in recent elections in Nigeria, but condemned attacks on personnel and infrastructure of the nation's electoral umpire and violent exchanges in the media. He urged other candidates to join him in detesting any form of violence and intimidation.
Let the sovereign will of the people decide the path of our nation. And let this election be determined by voters, making their choice freely rather than domineering intimidation.
Nigeria's election is coming at a time when West Africa's sub-region is witnessing pockets of political unrest, leading to military takeover in some countries. Asiwaju Tinubu stressed that Nigeria is committed to democracy. He gave a clue to how he intends to deal with the issues of insecurity in the country.
To secure itself, Nigeria not only requires to build and enhance the capacity of its armed forces, but also the welfare and well-being of its citizens. Though a commitment to the promotion of human security, the country has attempted through government and other successive governments interface national security and economic development as two sides of the same coin.
The candidate hinted that if voted into power, he would dismantle the country's centralized energy framework.
It is time to recognize that the centralized approach to energy policy infrastructure is not an optimal arrangement, and it is unlikely to improve by mere tinkering around the sites.
The candidate went ahead to promise an annual growth rate of above 7%, reduce unemployment rate to double the economy in 10 years, accelerate investment in gas production, and committing to the African Union agenda for continental transformation. Critics wonder why the candidate delegated answering policy questions to his allies, reverberating concerns over his state of health. This view is condemned by his supporters, who describe the entire outing as brilliant. Uzonna Ononye, reporting for News Central.
Well, Nelson Ekujimi, political analyst, joins me to unpack the latest development. Nelson, well, thanks for your time. So the reactions are trailing the outing of the APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu at London's Royal Institute of International Affairs, also known as Chatham House, have been mixed. While some, mostly his supporters, have been applauding it, on the other side, some have taken pot shots at it. Now, Nelson, how would you rate his performance generally at Chatham House?
Thank you very much for having me tonight. I watched the presentation at Chatham House, and I must confess to you that the candidate actually performed very well. He attended issues. He was focused on the Nigerian state, how to improve on, the area of governance that Nigeria is presently lacking. And from the engagement, one can see that this was a candidate who recognized that to move the country forward does not require the thinking of one man, that it should be a collective responsibility. And that must have informed the reasons why he dedicated some of those questions to, the members of his team. That is to tell that the man in question, actually, recognizes the fact that even under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the president is mandated to appoint persons to help him in running the affairs of the country. And in running the affairs of the country, in a democracy, it does not mean that Mr. President will be dictating. It also means that these are men and women of ideas who bring out their own intellect in addressing societal problems collectively. So by and large, it was a very good outing by Mr. Achwajbola. And the shot fired at him is not unexpected. It is a democracy.
Nelson, let me jump in here. Now you qualify that as a very good outing, but some Nigerians are saying that, well, it's an unprecedented outing, seeing a candidate for the first time in the political journey of Nigeria delegating people to answer to questions. So how does that really resonate with people seeking for genuine change from a leader that they can rely on and not anyone who will be ruling by proxy?
Well, you and I know for free that candidate Bola Tinubu is eminently qualified intellectually and administratively. You can look at his record as a former governor of the country. So if he has dedicated the responsibility of answering questions to members of the team, that tells you clearly that the man has confidence in those he's working with, that because he should recognize that even in drawing up manifesto, I'm sure nobody would expect that the manifesto will encompass only the ideas of Achwajbola, because Achwajbola is not Nigeria. Nigeria is peopled by persons of various ethnic personalities who have their own views on how society to be governed. And if Achwajbola has gone to a forum with a team of highly intellectually driven persons, and questions are asked, it is also incumbent on him as the leader who believes in collective decision making, to allow people to recognize the quality of silence surrounding him so that people will have more confidence in his kind of leadership that, look, this is a man who does not, dictate, who does not believe he has all the ideas to solving the societal.
All right, okay, Nelson, let's see if we can actually close on this, looking at the significance of addressing the institute by candidates. By President Buhari in 2015 was at Chatham House, and quite an unknown, pretty much an unknown figure in Nigerian politics then. So how relevant is it in actual terms, in the scheme of things, having candidates leaving Nigeria to Europe or America to speak when the actual voters are here in Nigeria?
Well, the impact of the Chatham House cannot be measured, because this is an international think tank, institute, that shapes international policy decisions. And if, as a candidate, you are canvassing the interests of the world in the affairs of the country that you want help, maybe in the area of investment, in the area of security, even in the area of migration, the need for international collaboration, for you to address the international community as well as, I think, don't forget, the institute is domiciled in UK, where we have a very large population of Nigerians who also deserve to have the face of the pie in being addressed by the candidates who want to become the president of Nigeria. So if as the candidates you are invited to such a forum, it is imperative of you, knowing fully well that the world has become a global village, that the international community has interest in what happens in Nigeria, for you to also take the book by the to go there and make them have the direct feel of what you have been saying to your people at home, that, look, the man came here, this was what is promised, that our whole month is promising. So the impact of the Chatham House, is very, very large. It is very, very important in international policy.
Well, Nelson Ekujimi, many thanks for speaking with us.
Thank you very much for having me.